On part one of our two-part Outback beef and Barra episode, we kick off our adventure in the Channel Country in Outback Queensland, head to what's arguably Australia's most famous pub, check out the Mary Kathleen, camp at an iconic Queensland campground, and cross into the Northern Territory as we make our way to the top end. Well, how good is this? Standing on the banks of the Diamantina in the Channel Country at a place I've always wanted to check out, Old Cork Station. We are off on a cracking trip. We are going to catch up with a couple of good mates of mine. We're going to check out some top-end pubs, check out a campground, and we're going to do some top-end barra fishing. Cannot wait. It's going to be an absolute pearler.
Down on an old bush track, a four-wheel drive, yeah, I like it like that. The weekend comes and now it's time to go. All's off-road, it's time for the show. Yeah.
On part one of our two-part Outback beef and Barra episode of Oz Off-Road TV, I'm flying solo, although my blue cattle dog and best mate Clancy has come along for a ride. After kicking off our adventure at Old Cork Station near Winton in Queensland, we travel west through to Cloncurry, make our way to the Burke and Wills Roadhouse, then west to the Lawnhill region, cut back through to the border town of Camberwell and onto the Northern Territory town of Daly Waters. You know, it amazes me just how fast a place can become ruined as nature takes back a patch of ground that was once home to many. It's been only 40 years since this homestead was abandoned. What's left today is simply amazing.
What do you reckon?
Unbelievable. Well, it's hard to believe that people actually lived in here. Hard country out here, isn't it? You right, mate? There might be ghosts in here. That's why Clancy's a little bit The ruins of Old Cork Station has been described as a ghost itself, and it has been said that the place is haunted by those who once called this place home. Located about 130 kilometres southwest of Winton, this once sandstone homestead was one of the original properties in the Winton Shire. Settled in the 1870s, it was actually the mail distribution point before Winton was established. Although this changed at the turn of the 20th century, workers and their families continued to live on the property until it was abandoned in the 1980s. As the station changed hands often, little of the history of Old Cork Station can be found in the record books. So what, the old floor's seen better days?
I reckon it's due for renos.
Mate, you take a fair bit to polish it up, I'd reckon.
How much do you reckon something like this would go for in the property market now?
Oh, in Sydney, probably a couple of mil. Although Clancy might be onto something, don't let the ghost scare you off. Old Cork Station is a great place to visit that comes with a great bush camp on the banks of the Diamantina and is a reminder of the pioneering history of Australia. Well, you got to love Old Cork Station. Quite a place, really. There's history everywhere here. We've got a pretty big day ahead of us from here, though. We're going to eat a little bit more dust, which means we need to wash that dust down. So I'm going to introduce you to a mate of mine later today. who is Australia's #1 publican. In fact, he's been voted the best publican in Australia. It's fair to say, though, I'm the one who actually voted. I think I was the only one who voted. He is a real character, and he is the man behind the bar at probably Australia's most famous pub. With about 400 kilometres from here to the pub, our journey begins along the Cork Mail Road. Now, I did mention that the mail distribution centre was relocated from Old Cork to Winton at the turn of the 20th century. This was because this road we are driving on now was often cut off for several weeks during big rain and the mail just couldn't get through. These days, though, it's a great outback drive and part of the Winton Pioneer Trail. Gee, I'm glad we came out here. If you listen to me on the radio, you'll know I'm always talking up the Channel Country. I absolutely love it. It's just big open spaces, massive blue sky, the natural scrub, the red dirt, dusty roads. I just love it. This is fair dinkum. That's what I call the real Australia. It's no wonder this time of year that thousands of people flock out to these parts and have a look for themselves. Do yourself a favour. If you want to come out and see the real Australia, get out to the Outback and come to places just like this, around the Diamantina, the Channel Country. There's a lot to take in here, I can tell you. I absolutely love it. Not too much longer until we get to the famous pub, and I've got to say to you, the weather is just absolutely sensational up here. It's no wonder that thousands of grey nomads and young travellers head to this part of the world during the winter months. It's just like summer in the southern parts of the country right now here. And this road we're on now is the main road that runs from Queensland into the Northern Territory. Sees a lot of traffic, a lot of road trains. Anyway, we're just out here joining the fray with everybody else. How good is it? We love it. We finally made it. You little beauty. Originally named the Federal Hotel, it was renamed after the fictional town Walkabout Creek in Australia's most famous movie, Crocodile Dundee. It is the actual pub from the movie and is located in the Queensland outback town of McKinley. If you have seen the movie, the pub is instantly recognisable the minute you walk through the doors. With photos, signage and props from the actual movie, this place has become part of Australia's history. The Shire itself boasts cattle stations and mines and has an estimated population of around 120 people. However, the actual town itself currently has a population of only 8 people. Now, I did say that we were going to one of Australia's most famous pubs. In fact, it is the #1 pub in Australia. Well, that might be the publican because he is the #1 publican in Australia. And of course, that man is my mate, Frank. Frank, how are you, son?
Good, Doc. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
I'm going good, mate. It's good to be here.
You're looking
it's
good.
Good to see you. Oh, mate, you're looking good too. I mean,
I like to look my best, mate. You know.
yeah, you could do a bit of work, but anyway. Mate, the Walkabout Creek Hotel, you've had it for 10 years.
We've been here 10, mate. Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee is a long time ago, but people have still got this fascination with not only the movie, but the pub itself, the Walkabout Creek Hotel. We're on the highway here, the main road that runs basically from Queensland right into the Northern Territory. But it was never here. It used to be around the corner.
Yeah, it was about 300 yards down the road, Doc, when they filmed the movie. They moved it up here in 1996, 10 years after the first movie, for a couple of reasons. The bloke that owned it at the time, it was badly in need of re-stumping, and they couldn't get under it to re-stump it because it was, really low to the ground, and probably the highway exposure as well.
Now, you came in here just over 10 years ago on your way back from some trip somewhere, called in, had a beer like a lot of people do, like us and others, and then went home, jumped on Google, and she's for sale.
Yeah, well, that's not exactly right. We were going to that was close. We were going to the camel races in Bullia And when we got to Bullion, my missus googled it. Deb, my wife, googled it, and she said, "Hey, that pub's for sale." And I said, "Let's look into buying that pub."
Yeah, right. Okay, so you bought the pub. Did you ever think you'd be a publican?
No.
Australia's #1 publican. I mean, I've crowned you that. I'm not sure.
I did not.
I'm not sure whether anyone else agrees, but mate, you're
Yeah.
#1 as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. You're basically part of the tourism business now. I mean, you got the great facilities out the back, plenty of caravan sites. There's that many people here, even today. We're here. They come in, have a few beers and a feed, and sit out the front. How good is it out there? You just sit out there and watch the world go by.
There's worse places than here, mate, that's for sure.
Can you believe that people still want to come and check out this pub after all these years?
We get some people come in and they'll say, "Oh, you know, this will die out, you know, with the next generation or whatever." And then we'll have kids come in, they're 5 and 6 years old, and they're quoting lines out of the movie, because, I mean, it's a great movie, let's face it. Like, it'll never die, in my opinion.
The product here, the beer, is always cold, but it's a big job. It's got to be tested.
Constantly monitored, Duck. Yeah. We don't want to be selling an inferior product.
Whose job is it to sit in the cool room and drink the beer to make sure it's all good?
I've got to say, it's not easy, Duck, but I'll have to take that title. Yeah. No.
All right, you're a good man, Frank.
Might tell you, absolutely.
You say that now, but in another couple of hours you might not be saying that. Get that bloke out of here.
Deb will be throwing us out.
Yeah, exactly. Poor Deb.
I wonder if that original bar from the movie is where Frank hides to test the product on a daily basis. Oh no, that's right. He hides in the cool room.
There's a fuel tank in the back here. Turn that on.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Frank Dundee.
Get out of the way, dopey.
What are you talking to me, are you? What's this? That don't work on me. Oh, well, what a great spot that Walkabout Creek pub is. Geez, Frank's a character, isn't he? Oh, that's what he is. Mate, he's one of the best, I tell you. I've got a fair day today. We're actually heading up towards the Mary Kathleen, have a look at that, and then we're going to make our way out to a pretty well-known camp spot. I'm not sure where we'll end up tonight, but wherever that'll be, it'll be another good spot, because everywhere out here is pretty good, isn't it? You've got to love it.
I mentioned good spots. There are a mountain of them out here, and it's not hard to work out why so many grey nomads and general travellers hit these parts at this time of the year. It's a shame that we just don't have the time on this trip to stop at them all, because when travelling around Longreach through to the Channel Country, you are spoilt for choice with things like the Qantas Museum, the Stockman Hall of Fame all at Longreach, the Dinosaur Trails and Waltzing Matilda Centre in Winton, a couple of good pubs, and of course the Mary Kathleen, which is where we are off to next. Driving out here beats the motorways in the big smoke. There's just no comparison, is there?
In 1954, between Mount Isa and Cloncurry, Norman McConaughey and John Walton, members of a prospecting syndicate of 9, discovered a great uranium deposit. Immediately, they staked a claim, which they called Mary Kathleen, after Mr. McConaughey's deceased wife.
Mary Kathleen is located about 1,700 kilometres northwest of Brisbane and only 52 kilometres east of Mount Isa. Settled in 1860s, uranium was first discovered at this very remote location by Clem Walton and Norm McConaughey in 1954, and the mine and township was named after the late wife of McConaughey. Prospecting and exploitation rights were on-sold, and in 1955 Rio Tinto Mining formed Mary Kathleen Uranium Limited to develop a mine and a service town. Mining began from the end of 1956 and ore was processed on site, and with orders processed by 1963, the mine was closed and left idle until around 1974. With new supply contracts from overseas markets, the second life of Mary Kathleen was extended until resources were exhausted in 1984.
Just driving through the Mary Kathleen old township here, and it's amazing how many people are taking advantage of where there were once a lot of house slabs. So there are people in here in caravans, a whole heap of them, basically just pulling up beside a slab. It's quite incredible.
The town of Mary Kathleen was located 6 kilometres away from the actual mine site and was built around a shallow valley. Like most towns of this era, it contained a post office, a school, banks, a temporary hospital and a community store. It even had a cinema and sports ovals. Water for Mary Kathleen was pumped in from nearby Lake Corella Dam. At around 1961, approximately 1,000 people lived at the new township, and a real friendly community lifestyle in every sense of the word was the way of life here. As with the mine, the township temporarily closed until the mine reopened in mid-1974, and with the population of around 80 people, it didn't stay at that for long, as it quickly grew to 700 the following year and peaked at around 1,200 in 1981. I'm tipping spending the 60s living here was a little different than other communities right across Australia at that time.
So if you're ever travelling between Mount Isa and Cloncurry, you're looking for a free camp with a bit of a difference and a lot of history, be sure to check out Mary Kathleen. It's hard to believe this place was actually once a town in the 1950s and then all closed down in the 80s. Now it's a free camping paradise. Be sure to check it out, Mary Kathleen.
What we got going on here, Duck?
We're going to be a bit late on the road today, and mate, we'd rather just pull up and have a couple of beers, wouldn't we, than just to start cooking. So I'm going to cook now, right? Start the process now, but then magically, our feed tonight will be cooking while we're driving out there, right? So this is the magic pot here. We'll get her out. We got the Eco Heat portable induction cooker. We'll turn her on. What I'm going to do, Gav, is I'm going to throw this chicken in here. I cut it. I did a good job of cutting it up, eh?
You did, look at that.
So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put a bit of this curry sausage stuff, even though it's chicken. I'm going to squeeze that in there. Got some mixed veggies in the freezer here. How good is it?
You prepared them earlier.
I prepared these much earlier. Okay, that might be enough. Then what we're going to do, Gav, might tip a jar of this in. Another one in. Bugger it. Yeah, put it all in, eh? It is curry. We want to make it like real curry. Prepared one of these earlier as well. Put a bit of that in. That's probably heaps. What I'm going to do is just mix all that around, mate.
Clancy looks keen.
Yeah, this might be a bit rich for Clancy. Turn this on. So what we do, we put this on here for a few minutes. It'll heat this up. These Eco Heat induction plates are beautiful, mate. They're really good. There you go, that'll be enough now. We get that off, take it off the induction cooker and stick it in there. Done. By the time we pull up for tea, mate, we're having curry chicken.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, been a fair day. I mean, started off at Walkabout Creek this morning at the pub there at McKinley. And then obviously we went up to Mary Kathleen. I reckon we could have settled in there actually. Gee, there was a lot of people kicking back there. But we want to go to Adels Grove. We're getting mixed reports on the roads going out to Lawn Hill and that since the big floods that were out there a fair while back now. And we bumped into a bloke who's actually on his way up there to do a bit of road work, who told us that should go back into Cloncurry and out through Gregory. Made another couple of phone calls and sort of tipped the same advice. So we're heading back along the road to Normanton now, so we might even pull up stumps at the Burke and Wills Roadhouse, and then we might get a bit more of a fair income road report, and then we'll make tracks from there.
After a few more hours on the road, we arrive at the Burke and Wills Roadhouse, where we'll pull up stumps for the night. I've got to tell you, after a big day, I reckon we are just beginning to feel a bit peckish, and this chicken curry's going to go down all right, I reckon. I notice you're eyeing it off a little bit too, Clancy. Sorry, mate. Dry dog food and a bone for you, my boy. After a good night's sleep, we wake up to a cracking morning behind the Burke and Wills Roadhouse, and with a big day ahead, it's time to fill up the only thing that I know drinks more than me.
Every litre counts out here. Every litre.
You don't want to be running out of fuel here. It's a long walk to anywhere, so we'll fill up some cans and grab every drop of fuel we can muster.
Gee, I've got to tell you, the trucks out here are enormous. If you're not used to it, you need to take a bit of care around some of these road trains, especially when you're overtaking them and the like. Usually it's pretty good idea to give them a bit of a shout on the radio and let them know you're coming around. 9 times out of 10, they'll actually back off a bit for you so you can get around safe. At the end of the day, if you get stuck behind one, just be patient, I'd reckon. But they're pretty big trucks out this way. They cart everything from cattle to general supplies and fuel, which is a pretty important part of what goes on out here. You need fuel. So if you're coming out this way, be prepared to run into a few road trains and come across them and just be, as they say, road train wise. They're out there doing a job and this is their workplace. So they move out of their way and let them go through. They're a lot bigger than you are.
The trucks are big out here, but I'm probably more careful around the odd caravan. Some can be pretty unpredictable at times. After leaving Burke and Wills, our next stop is Adels Grove, and although it's only around 230 k's to get there, it'll still take us a fair bit of time. One good thing about it, we finally hit some dirt road. Air down the tyres and get ready for another remote spectacular drive ahead.
Bit rough.
Oh mate, just do the right thing. We'll air down, eh? Just a bit.
Sounds sensible.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of sharp rocks on here, so... Trouble is, I've got 4 tyre deflators, I need 8 now. Anyway. Well, we keep on keeping on, and I've got to tell you, this dirt road that runs from the highway out to Adels Grove, geez, it's scenic. It's in pretty good condition. I've obviously done a bit of work out here. It's very dusty, but an unbelievable experience out here. Been a few years since I've driven out this way, and seems to be a little bit greener. Plenty of shrubs around, but just as you drive around the mountain ranges and stuff, it's just a really good drive, and you're not sure what's coming, so you just take your time and enjoy the experience. We'll get into Adels and we'll suss out what's going on there, but in the meantime, we've still got about 50 odd k's or 60 k's to go. So we'll just cruise on in and enjoy the view.
Gee, talk about views. This water crossing looks like it's been built by professional landscape gardeners.
I got some really good advice a while back last time I was here that if you are crossing these, just go through on idle. Has a very slippery bottom, and they've got concrete pads, so it's not rough going through, but there's a lot of moss and slime on the top of them. So if you're going through, especially towing a caravan, and a caravan the size of this one, just take your time and cruise through it gently. But geez, it's a great run through here.
And the closer we get to Adels, the better the drive gets. There's lots to take in. It's just sensational up here.
I went down that road again. I went down that road. I went down that road again. I went down that road.
We're motoring along, but it looks like we've come across another water crossing here, which wasn't here last time I was here. The creek was here, but there was no water in it. And there's no concrete pad on this one, so she's a little bit rougher. Ooh, but there's a real big hole there. But it's, go through easy here. We'll van through here nice and easy. I don't want to shake the beers up too much. Okay, and we're through. That was a little bit deeper than I thought.
With Lawn Hill National Park currently closed while flood repairs take place, we almost have this place to ourselves. It's certainly a rare treat, as bookings are usually essential here.
Well, here we are at the beautiful Adels Grove. We're standing here right on this waterway here. It is unbelievable. The colour of this water is quite incredible, and it's actually because there's a lot of calcium in the water here. How do I know that? It's because I'm smart. No, not really, but I was told that. But look, if you are travelling around the Mount Isa, Camberwell region and you're out touring, Adels Campground is an absolute definite stop off for you, that is for sure. The road in's great, a couple of water crossings, it's a bit of an adventure, but when you get here, it is a fantastic place to visit.
Described by many as an oasis in the Outback, Adels Grove is about 10 kilometres from the Lawn Hill National Park. This place really does cater for the caravaner and camper, and with fully serviced on-site cabins, the general tourer is looked after as well. First-class facilities, licensed bar and restaurant with shady camp spots by the water, and large caravan sites. There is something for everyone here. Boat rides, canoe hire, fishing and swimming. This is a great place to stay, and the kids will love this place even more than you do. Gee, this place is a cracking spot, and the locals seem pretty friendly as well. Gee, they seem to get on well, don't they? Long before being a campground and tourist hotspot, Adels Grove was actually a garden that supplied seeds to botanical gardens all over the world. The name Adels comes from the initials of the botanist Albert de Lestang, who owned the property in 1920. Although during his time at Adels, he did run a general store from the property for passing travellers. Albert's business was gardening though, and at one time he had over 2,000 species of plants introduced onto the property. In the 1950s, the property was damaged by flood and animals, and soon after was totally destroyed by fire. With age catching up to old Albert, he struggled to get the place up and running again, and leaving the property, Adels became a mining camp. Today, a small portion of Albert's botanical oasis still exists at Adels Grove, so be sure to go exploring if you're camping at this bucket list destination.
It's a great spot at Adels Grove, so if you're travelling in this area whilst you're touring around exploring, be sure to come and check it out just like we did.
After a great camp over at this top spot, it's time to farewell the locals and keep on moving. I did say that the locals were friendly though, didn't I? Oi, get yourself a room, eh? After leaving Adels, we bump into the listener of my camping and off-road radio show. I knew he was out there somewhere. Now, normally we would have taken a run out to Lawn Hill, but it's still closed due to the floods, so it's time to head towards the territory. But rest assured, crews are out there fixing things up, including my radio show listener, so it won't be long before Lawn Hill is welcoming visitors to this awesome place again soon. We can't wait for Lawn Hill to reopen so people can get out there and enjoy this very unique part of the world.
Well, how good was Adels Grove? It's beautiful there. I mentioned it's like an oasis in the Outback. It's something else. It's a bit of a shame about Lawn Hill being closed, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's only temporarily closed, so hopefully they'll get that sorted. There was plenty of people out there working on the roads and fixing up things after the flood damage. Still a few people camping in Adels though. I couldn't believe it. Just people just relaxing and chilling out. Anyway, that's Adels. We're moving on through to Camberwell. We'll grab some fuel there and then make our way into the Northern Territory. So another big day ahead.
It's quite unbelievable just how far widespread the damage is from the big rain that fell here in March in 2023. It was certainly a big wet with over 500 mil of rain falling in less than 36 hours. It's been 18 months since the big floods that not only decimated Lawn Hill, but absolutely tore parts of this region apart, smashing flood level records as far back as the early 1970s.
I did say every litre counts out here. Well, we're in God's country now, that's for sure, the Northern Territory. And mate, I absolutely love it up here. It's probably my favourite part of Australia. I've got a few. I like North Queensland, the Channel Country, Outback Queensland as well. The Northern Territory is just something special, and we might pull up at the Barkley Roadhouse, the homestead tonight, and then it's up to the top end for a bit of adventure, a couple of more pubs and a little bit of barra fishing. Can't wait for that. Anyway, the Northern Territory. She's just another world here, mate. I absolutely love it.
After another big day that started at Adels, we pull up at Barkley Roadhouse, which is located between Camberwell and the Three Ways near Tennant Creek. It's the only fuel stop for the 460k distance and is a popular overnight stopover with an abundance of caravan and camping sites as well as cabin accommodation options. There's plenty of room out the back as well, and after a couple of days in the car, there's heaps of space for Clancy to get out, stretch his legs and go for a run.
What's on the cards today, Doc?
Something different today.
What's that?
More driving. Anyway, welcome to the How to Fill Up Your Car with Petrol show. It's cheap here too. Well, after a pretty good night at the Barclay Homestead Roadhouse, we're going to get ourselves to the Daly Waters Pub. Have a look around. Be good to catch up with old mate Tim at the pub. We'll show you Tim's shed. If you've never been to Tim's shed at Daly Waters, mate, you haven't seen anything. So in the meantime, a bit of driving ahead of us again today. Geez, it's some long stretches out here, that's for sure.
Long stretches are becoming part of our life on this trip. We've actually knocked over 1,600 kilometres since we left Old Cork Station, and with another 570 in front of us today, you could be mistaken for thinking that this is the Groundhog Day version of driving. Gee, they certainly truck some big gear out in these parts. Check this thing out. Now that's a bucket.
There's no shortage of people out and about. Geez, I don't think I've seen so many caravans on the road. I guess all those caravans that they sold during COVID times, and well, they're not parked in driveways and backyards, they're all out here on the highways.
Now we're talking. Daly Waters. I just love this place. It's an absolute perler. Daly Waters is located about 620 kilometres south of Darwin, and it's a population of around 55 people and is famous for the iconic Daly Waters Pub. The name Daly Waters was given to a series of natural springs by Scottish explorer John McDougall Stewart in 1861 and was actually named after the Governor of South Australia, Sir Dominic Daly.
Not sure if you saw me do this before on this episode, but here's a little bit more go-go juice.
Now, I did mention that Daly Waters is famous for the pub, but there is more to this place than just the famous watering hole. The minute you drive into town, the feeling of real Australia hits you square between the eyes. With monuments and Aussie history everywhere, you really need to visit this place to experience the real deal feel of the Australian way of life. And no visit to Daly Waters is complete without a visit to Tim's Junkyard.
How good's this? Look at the gear in here. Unbelievable, mate. It's a bit different. Well, mate, there's the new model Oz Off-Road trail-built caravan over there. Mate, this is Tim's Junkyard. Like, how good is it? But, mate, what about the junk in here? So this is obviously the old company ute from the Cooper Pedy BP, eh? Unbelievable, eh? Mate, that looks familiar, doesn't it? Mate, that looks incredible. That cop car, actually, because I looked at it last time I was here, is the police car they use in the film Wolf Creek.
Is it the same cop?
I'm not sure about the same cop. So, Gav, I'm thinking we put that big fifth wheeler on the back of the Ram, tow that home, and you can drive that home.
Could that be my new crew car?
That's your new company car. What do you think?
That's pretty sick. You gonna hop in?
No. I think I'd get in that, dear.
Tim's Junkyard is not your traditional junkyard, I can tell you. This would have to be the best shed in Australia. In fact, it's more like an Aussie larrikin museum than a junkyard. It's hard to describe just how unique and very Australian this is. I can't imagine the time, not to mention the money it took to put this place together. It's no wonder that people travel from all corners of the globe just to come here for that taste of the Outback and the Australian way of life. Daly Waters is just another example of why I love the Outback. The people, the history, the way of life, and of course the pubs and the characters that you meet. If you want to feel more Australian, get yourself to an Outback town just like this one. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Well, that's a wrap on part one of our Outback Beef and Barra episode of Oz Off-Road TV. We kicked off at Old Cork Station in the Channel Country, had a beer in Australia's most famous pub, popped into the Mary Kathleen, camped at one of Queensland's most popular camp spots, Adels Grove, stopped off at some homesteads, cruised some scenic open road, still ate some dust though, and ended up at the iconic town of Daly Waters. On part 2 of our Outback Beef and Barra adventure, we go inside the Daly Waters Pub and have a beer and yarn with the territory's biggest character. We then head north with a couple of stops along the way, including something special in Adelaide River. We check out some more cracking territory pubs, spot some crocs and buffaloes, and go fishing at a spot that is the real deal top end. We'll even take you to a special beach and take in what's arguably Australia's best sunset. So we'll see you next time for all of that and a whole lot more right here on Oz Off-Road TV. Remember, at Oz Off-Road, your adventure begins when you turn the key in the ignition, so if you want to get out there just like we do and live the Oz Off-Road lifestyle, it all starts at our website, ozoffroad.com.au.
Camping down on an old bush track, a four-wheel drive, yeah, I like it like that. The weekend comes and now it's time to go. Oz Off-Road, it's time for the show.
Oz Off-Road TV, proudly sponsored by Ozcar, Optivan, Ocam 4x4 Accessories, Trail Caravans, Club 4x4 Insurance, Duck4x4.com, and Oz Off-Road. For your one-stop adventure shop, visit ozoffroad.com.au.